Color me the rose and the thorn. I am the timeless hope that dreams, yes, unborn. I am for my people.
Hi, I'm Poet Danny Green. Welcome to another exciting edition of Color Me Poetry today. And I have with me a lovely young lady. She's an author and a poet, and I've known her since she was knee-high to a bumblebee. Maybe not that long. How you doing, Shay? What is your name?
Shanae. Monique Weston is my real name. That all the world might know.
Yeah, because you know I don't know all the rest of you. I've always known you as Shay. And you know how we met. We met at work. I was working. You was a kid in school.
That's a whole lot of work. That's a full-time job. That's a full-time job.
We met from Forceville High School some years ago, and you were like 14 or 15.
Yeah, about 14.
And now you're the ripe old age of
27. Why you put my government out there?
Okay. This young lady has been writing for an awful long time. Used to come to me at Forceville High School when I was working there, and would always bring me a poem. She was one of the kids who used to bring me her poetry all the time. Mr. Queen, I'm like, oh, here we go. I need you to read this poem. I need you to see what I want to see what you think. And used to do that all the time.
Yes.
But I didn't mind because I know that you were interested, like other kids that who brought me their poetry all the time. I don't even know how you guys knew I was a poet.
Well, you didn't function very well if I didn't bring it to you anyway, so don't act like that was one-sided. It was both of us. Yeah,
it was both of us. But yeah, I love that. I really did, because kids used to see my poems around the school all the time.
Right.
In the lounge, on the walls, in teachers' rooms, and all of that. Probably the principal's office too.
Your stuff is always hanging on my doors, everywhere I go. I always take your poetry with me.
That's beautiful. Now, Shay, how long have you been writing?
I probably started writing around 6. I started.
Really?
Yeah, I started with music. I wanted to write songs. I wanted to be a singer, so I started writing. Yep.
Well, you may very well have a gift for songwriting as a lyricist as well. You never know. You've always had a gift for words. I know that.
Thank you.
And what made you want to write, though, as a young person? Were you shy? Were you always had something to say and didn't know how to say it? What it is that started you to write?
No, I don't think I was ever really shy. I think being the only child, I was the only child for years. So I think I needed somebody to, my age, who was me, who could write and just release things that maybe I couldn't release to somebody that was older or whatever. So I think that just helped me to cope with the fact that I wanted siblings and I didn't have them. Yeah.
Did you have at that age, did you have like imaginary playmates that you would talk to or write poems to?
Yeah, Sally and Susie and everybody else.
I had playmates, but I don't know how imaginary they was.
I would talk to my teddy bears, my baby dolls, and when they weren't around, I would just have somebody to talk to.
Well, I never did that.
I know.
But it's interesting because I grew up during the time when, as a child, when kids were to be seen and not heard. And so, I was always an old spirit. I would like to listen to, things that grown folks used to say, and I just like listening like that. And my parents and my grandparents would always be like, grown folk talking in here.
Grown folks business.
Go find your playmates.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have any playmates. Find some.
Go outside, don't come back to the
Right, that was the point. Grown folk talking in here.
Right.
And that's the way it was. And so I was always a kid who had a need to express myself all the time.
Yes.
So you were writing since you were very young.
Yes.
Do you remember your first poem?
I don't. Not at this moment. I don't.
But there was some early stuff.
Yes, and I still have it. I know. I know the subject matter. I know that I was writing a song to God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that.
You don't remember the title?
I don't remember the title because I didn't title my things back then. You were actually the one who told me to start titling my
stuff. Right, because
I used to just write them and have them there, but you were like, Shay, it needs a title, so I always
because you used to always say it's untitled. Everything's untitled.
I used to hate that.
I did, because I was like, you got to give it a title. You got to call it something. So I started every piece you write can't be untitled.
I just didn't want it to be, because if it was my way, it would just be the first line of the poem.
Now, do you write the poem first, or do you write the title first?
Now I write the title first. And then the poem, unless I'm out somewhere and I just get like this, I could be in a class, I could be with my students because I teach now and everything like that, and if I get some inspiration, then I would not title it until after the fact.
Oh, wow.
But if I sit down for it,
I've always had poems and songs that were tailor-made. I've always written from the title. Everything that you see I've ever written, you've seen a lot. it always started with the title first.
It helps you to flow better, actually does.
It helps you to
really
flow
does.
and it helps you to focus.
Yes, because you
So,
know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And so with that sense, I begin with the end in mind. Because I know where it's going to go because this is the title. And I can't take it off to something that has nothing to do with what it is that I'm talking about in the title.
It also helps you to research.
Well, yeah, it helps you to research.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. So I've always started with the title first. I don't know if I've ever had a poem that was called Untitled. What's the title of this poem? Untitled. All of them Untitled? Come on now. Yes. So we're talking about poetry. So I'd like for you to share a piece. Anything you'd like to share, Shay?
Okay, well, I want to start with, it's called My Prayer.
And then I want the history behind that piece after we finish.
Okay, yes, my prayer. My prayer, oh God, create springs in me to fill up my dry places. Do not let me be dismayed by men and their faces. I'm vulnerable, Lord. My strength at times grows dim. Renew the right spirit in me. Against thee, let me not sin. I hold on to your word, Lord, the only thing that does not pass away. It leads me, it guides me, Lord. I keep it in my heart, there it shall stay. Peace be unto me, Lord, in my fragile state. Holy Spirit, Lord, a comforter for every date. Listen to my petition, O God. Keep me in your hands. I trust you with my life, Lord. With you working, I shall forever stand. It is so. Amen.
That's beautiful, sister. Oh, man. Really love that. That's very touching. Yeah. So what was the idea? What was the inspiration behind that?
Sometimes when I pray, I like to pray a lot, and so sometimes I write my prayers down.
Oh.
I have a lot of pieces like that. This is the only one that I brought with me, but I usually like to write out my prayers. I just like to be able to go back. I think sometimes it strengthens me when I go through something or anything like that. And sometimes you might not even want to pray, because sometimes that's a thing. You go back and you remember the things that you asked for, or that where your heart was at that time. It also helps you to measure how far you come in something, because you might put something in this prayer that you don't really have to pray about the next time.
Wow. Oh, I never heard it put that way. Well, I got a prayer poem also.
Nice.
And I simply entitled it, I Am Because God Is.
Yes.
Because of the God force within me, He is mine and I am His. For I am what I am, all because God is. God is my heavenly Father from up on high and above, for He's the light of all life and the spirit of heavenly love. And when I find that I'm in need of heaven's intensive love and care, I just bow my head and whisper a prayer. And when life suddenly smiles upon me with a frown, and all my ups start to look down, I put my trust in God, because He's always around. My God is forever mine, as I am eternally His. For I am what I am, all because God is. Yeah, you remember that?
I do remember that.
Wow.
I do.
Yeah, I wrote that. Oh, God, I wrote that years ago when I was in college. I remember working on a term paper in the library. I was up the top of the library at Bowie State University.
Right.
And I was bored, and then I'm like, man, I was trying to finish this paper, and it just came to me just like that. It's like I was just holding the pencil, and it just flowed that easily. And then I rested for a while, and then I was able to finish that term paper, because I know I had to do that term paper. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. I also remember your other one, God is Good.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I have that one. I do.
Wow.
Yep.
So what you're writing, does the, well, I'm trying to think how I want to ask this. With your writing, what kind of responses have you got from other people?
Some people cry.
Even now, even at a younger age as well.
Yeah,
some people cry.
Some people cry about it. Some people say, wow, that really touched me. They really want to know where I get the inspiration from.
Yeah,
they want to know how long it takes me to write it. And most of the time, it doesn't take me any time. Now, because I'm busier, because I teach like 11 hours out of my day, it takes me longer. But people just really want to know like where I was at the time, or
what were you thinking?
What was I thinking when I wrote it, or when I was younger, because sometimes I would write pieces that were beyond my years or something.
Yeah, I can bear witness to that. Because you used to bring me stuff. She's like 14.
You're right.
Where did this come
where
from?
in the world did that come from?
Yeah.
So a lot of times people's like, where did you get that from? You must, have a lot of older friends, and I do have a lot of older friends. I keep
because you're old soul too, though.
I keep myself around.
People say that you're old soul.
Or that thing been here before.
Well,
That's
I said that too.
That's
when I met you, hey, you're 14-year-old thinking like that.
Yeah.
So you were always, in that sense, ahead of where you were in terms of your age.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful, though. Share another piece with us, if you will.
Sure. I wanted to write one because my favorite poet passed away in May of 2014 when I graduated with my English bachelor's degree. And I wrote this for her, Maya Angelou. And it's in loving memory of Maya Angelou, and it was called Seasons.
Okay.
Pat, pat, pat-a-tat-tat. The rain, the lightning, the rolling thunder dripping down on Earth's surface, running against asphalt, down the parallel drains, moist messages diving from leaves onto car roofs. The rain stops, the wind blows, echoing passion to the breeze. Seasons change. Some people don't. No, some people just go on living, though some die. Cause and effect, the rain forming as tears in the eyes of those that love them. I loved her and her seasons. To the greatest female poet who for many years wrote on the scroll of my heart, I love and miss you and cannot wait to see you in the aquamarine sky.
Wow, girl, that's beautiful. I know Maya would love that. What is it that you loved about Maya Angelou so much?
I just love, she's a free spirit.
Yes,
She
I
was a
loved her
free
too.
spirit. I'm a free spirit. She knew so much, and it wasn't because she was this great, you know, somebody.
She was great.
She was. We would never deny that she was great, but
Yeah.
she didn't let her greatness get to her. She was a very humble.
She's a very humble person. Yeah.
Very
Yes.
passionate. She had been places. She had made a lot of mistakes, and she wasn't afraid to share them with us. I have
Right.
her autobiographies. I have everything that she's ever written. And
Did you read I Know What a Caged Bird Sings?
Of course, yes. I did. We had to read
Great
that in
book.
school. We had to read that
Oh,
at
yeah,
Forestville when
read
I
that.
met you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, great book.
Yeah.
She went through a lot.
Everything.
And such wisdom, though, because I like when she said, when people show you who they
You
are.
know, believe them.
That's what she said. I always remember she said that.
Yes.
You know, can never forget that. Now, to me, that was, wow, that was really deep when she said that. Because I hadn't thought about it like that before. People always showing you who they
They
are.
always show
You may not want to say it.
Why in the world won't you believe them?
Yeah, and they show you. Yeah, and they always showing you, believe me. So there's a piece that I like to share, simply entitled, I want to dedicate this to all the women of the world. It's simply entitled, Without Woman, a poem for all women of the world. Woman, as the mother of man, represents the power of the Almighty's hand through all the love, joy, pain, sorrow, and strife. Woman is the lifeline to all human life. For where there's no she, there can be no he. And where there's no us, there can be no we. Only through the womb of woman's body and mind can man see himself in another place and time. There could be no woman, there could be no man. Without woman as co-creator in God's master plan. For he who is without woman can never be made whole until he's learned to love from the depths of his soul. And though love can sometimes make you cry, yet while you laugh, man and woman will always be each other's better half. For where there's no she, there can be no he. And where there's no us, there could be no we without woman. Woman, you know? When I think about my grandmother and the lessons that I learned from my grandmother and my mother and, you know, all the females in my life, I mean, it's just overwhelming for me, you know, it really is.
I think that's one of my favorite pieces from you.
Well, it ain't my favorite. My favorite is called Pull Your Pants Up. We'll get to that in a minute. You know, it's interesting. Do people ever ask you, well, what is your favorite poem? Do you have any favorites? Do people ever ask you that?
No.
How would you respond?
People don't really ask me that.
So let me ask you, do you have a favorite?
No, I really don't have. Well, you know what? I have a favorite that I have with me. I wouldn't say that it's the best work that I ever wrote, but I think the way that it came to me, because a lot of times I use metaphor, and I use, you know, when I was younger, I did a lot of simile where there's like and as, something is like this, but you get away from saying something is like this, and you kind of, you know, just say, oh, a computer. I wonder, can love be like a computer or anything like that? And you,
Computer
and you think, right. So I wrote a piece that I feel might be one of my favorites.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Can you share it?
I can share it.
Please do.
But you're going to be upset
Well, you know,
because it's not titled.
Oh, Lord. It's a love poem?
It is. It is.
How you going to have a love poem, Shay, and I ain't got no title? We'll give it a title right now.
All right, you help me to get one before we leave here. I turned on the computer to my heart. Decided to wait for the green light on the monitor to appear. Signing on to love again, careful to create a strong, secure password. I was hard on my lover. I scrolled through his pages, kept a history of his failings, sometimes stopped to bookmark what he did right. I Googled through his home life to gain insight, my findings not always what I had hoped. Yet I never closed the browser. I kept clicking, backspacing, trying to reward or reword what I typed. But once you type and press enter, you can never delete. You make a decision, close the window or create another. I decided to create new windows, adding on to his pages. His history now influenced by my love and prayers for him. The backdrop of his pages enriched with new data. Doing away with cookies he did not need. My maturing, clearing out the cache and built against him as a screen protector for me. Each and every day, I became more free to love wholeheartedly. No more hiding behind private browsers. Instead, I've decided to let go and let God be the antivirus to my heart. My hard drive eternally protected by the person that first loved me, so that I could learn to love another.
Common sense cookies. Oh, that much. Let's talk about them cookies, girl.
Cookies, get your hand out of my cookie jar.
You know, it's interesting because when people ask me, do I have a favorite? I always say, well, I haven't written it yet. Because I don't know what's his favorite. I mean,
that's true. You never know what you're going to write tomorrow.
Right. I never know what I'm going to write. So how am I going to say it's a favorite?
Right.
But there's pieces that now that people do like that I do, and this is an old one. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite because I haven't really gotten there yet, and I hope I never get there. I never become complacent, you know, with what I'm doing.
That's true.
But there's some people. Some people say, you know, this is their favorite. A lot of brothers say that, sisters too say this is their favorite here, and this is simply entitled "Pay Me My Money." Just so you pay me all that I'm due. If you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, that's on you. I'm coming from all ends just to make ends meet. So I'm overworked, underpaid, and dead on my feet. Don't want to rain on nobody's parade, but I want what I need, and I'm trying to get paid. And if you don't have it, no, I won't try and understand. So pay me my money, all of my money, just as soon as you can. I can't help but to regret it because sometimes it's gone before I get it. And if I had what's due to me instead of just making do, I could pay Peter, Paul, and Mr. Bobo too. Don't mean to rain on nobody's parade, but I want what I need, and I'm trying to get paid. And if you don't have it, no, I won't try and understand. So pay me my money, all of my money, just as soon as you can. Pay me my money.
Yes. Rihanna would love that.
I know she would. I got a whole lot of folk. This could be the reparations for him.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, you know, I haven't written my favorite poem yet.
Right.
So I don't know if I'll ever write it. But until I do, this is as close as we're going to get.
Okay.
So when you write a poem, how do you feel after you finish? Is there a certain high?
It is. It's an adrenaline rush.
When you finish, you accomplish something that you, like the piece you just read, man. Tell me more about the story behind that. That's what I wanted to ask you. It's about a breakup.
No, it's actually not about a breakup. It's about getting into a new relationship, but making my new partner pay for the sins of my old partner.
And you use a lot of analogy.
Coming out of that.
Yeah.
I think it's important because a lot of us do that. A lot of us,
we do that.
You know, when your partner that you have now has anything that kind of resembles that old partner, you kind of like get so, you know.
You make them pay for it.
You make them pay for it, or you don't give them a chance to be themselves. They are not themselves. They are that person. And so you don't let them into a space that is actually rightfully theirs. If you come into something with somebody, you were supposed to give them that a chance because that is what you signed on for. Yeah. But a lot of times we don't do that. And
you can just move that down a little bit.
I personally didn't do that.
Yeah, so he's saying, well, wait a minute, but I wasn't there. I didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, but somebody else was, so you got to pay for it. You want to be in my life?
Yeah.
You got to pay for what he did.
Right. And so when you come into the realization that you did that, you repent, like I had to repent. And you had to repent for something like that. You have to tell them. Repent? first of all, I repented to God about it, and I said, Lord, change me. And then I went to him and I told him, this is not your fault. This has nothing to do with you. Can we start over? Can you allow me to start over?
Right.
Yeah.
And that works.
Yeah, it is. It helps us to better communicate. I think I'm a better communicator because of it, because I could see that. Now, it's a problem when you can't see what you're doing, but I was able to see it.
Yeah, and to see your faults and go back and
That's
correct
right.
it. Yeah, and also you keep your head out the cookie jar. Right thing for the wrong reason.
That's it, all right?
Yeah, speaking of the cookie jar, I had my hand in the candy jar, and it's simply entitled Chocolate City Candy.
Yes.
Just the taste of you makes my life so complete. Learning to love you is a special treat. The little loving things you do forever makes your honey sweet. You're good and plenty loving, just knocks me off my feet. You're my sugar baby, peppermint patty pearl. My M&M plain chocolate city candy girl. My lifetime lightsaber, Fifth Avenue, Lovers Lane Park. My budded fingered whatchamacallit, such sweetness in the dark. Now and later, you'll always be my Mary Jane. Messed that up. It'll come back to me. I'm sorry I messed up, but it's all right.
No worries.
I'll go back to it.
No worries.
Yeah, but it's all good. So actually with Chocolate City Candy, even though I didn't finish it off, is a poem I was paying tribute to black women. That's what the whole thing is about. Because I had this friend who always wanted me to write a piece for her birthday, and her name was Candace. So I just went into the store one day and I started writing down all these candy bars. I said, what can I do that would be cute for? That'd be really nice. And that's what I came up with, Chocolate City Candy.
That's it.
Yeah. And if she watches, she'll forgive me for messing up her poem.
She will. All right.
Yeah, now, something else. Please, there's another piece that you were telling me about. A love poem or whatever.
Yes, because you like love poems, so I think I'll do one for you. This is one. I wrote it back in 2009. It's called Forever.
Oh, wow.
Designed and decored just for me. How heavenly. I wonder what you have in store for me when I come home at night. Your arms caress me just right. Your love holds me real tight. And baby, maybe I'll light some candles and cradle your soul happy, or acutely massage the veins of your spine. We should have a good time, perhaps put on some rhymes and talk, and walk this walk together forever.
Wow. That's beautiful. So what kind of love was that about?
Love between a husband and a wife.
Okay.
You know, just being able to talk and communicate with one another. Waiting in anticipation for your spouse to come home. I think sometimes I've noticed, I've never been married, of course, but I watch other couples and I see sometimes how it seems like they might dry up. But just that wife that's been there has that anticipation of my husband coming home.
Now, is this from the perspective of a young person, or did you do this when you was like really younger, or were you older? When you
2000, what was it, 2009, that's 10 years ago. I was about 17.
Yeah, yeah,
A baby, I was 17.
Oh,
I was up and coming. Up and coming in the world.
But you know, it's interesting because, you know, as a child, and even as a teenager, you don't always know the kind of relationship that your parents had.
Right.
As a child, you really, even though you're in it, in a sense, but you're on the outside looking in another sense, because you don't know the kind of relationship they had.
I think sometimes it's better for a perspective sometimes when you see outside of it, because you can look at it with sometimes with fresh eyes instead of actually being in it. No, I'm not actually in it, but if I'm over here on the side, I can look at all the angles because I'm on the outside and the perimeter.
Not on the outside, but inside strong. Old song, Before You Was Born, by the Moments. Not on the inside, but outside strong.
That's it. Strong.
Which brings me back to this poem that I messed up, y'all.
Oh, you're going to read it now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's listen.
Chocolate City Candy. Just the taste of you makes my life so complete. Learning to love you is a special treat. The little loving things you do forever makes your honey sweet. You're good and plenty loving, just knocks me off my feet. You're my sugar baby, peppermint patty pearl. My M&M plain chocolate city candy girl. My lifetime lightsaber, Fifth Avenue's Lovers Lane Park. My budded fingered whatchamacallit, such sweetness in the dark. Now and later, you'll always be my Mary Jane, my baby Ruth. My mounds of almond joy, chocolate honey sweet tooth. Let me be your payday, sugar daddy galore. Your 100 grand, Mr. Goodbar for sure. And when you turn on your total Tootsie Roll charms, your chocolate cherry kisses make me melt in your arms. You're my sugar baby, peppermint patty pearl. My M&M plain chocolate city candy girl.
That's it. That's it. Chocolate flame.
I got it right.
Yes, the M&M's flame.
You remember that?
I do. I have it.
Oh, yeah, that. Wow. Yeah, that was a minute ago.
Yeah, you've shared
really
so much
a
of your work with me. I love it.
And you shared so much of your work with me as a young person, you know, just, what, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
You used to bring me those poems, sometimes written on all kind of stuff.
All over on the side of the page. I try to make it better now. You see, it's better. It's better.
Yeah, much better. But you know what, Shay? We're looking for a book from you. Now, you finished school. You got your undergraduate degree.
I do.
And you have your master's.
I do.
Yes, and I'm so proud of you. I must say that I'm really proud of you. And so next thing we got to do is your next book.
Okay.
We got to bring, yes. So we're going to have a major book from you. Because you've been writing, collecting your stuff for a lot of years. A lot of years. Yeah, so I don't know what you're going to call it, but it can't be untitled. That's for sure. What's the name of your new book, Shay? Untitled? Okay.
That's art.
Huh?
Untitled is art. People would love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but that's interesting to say that, because do you think that, well, I always say, let me put it this way, and you can respond to it. I always say that creativity, in a sense, has a mind of its own.
It does.
Why do you think that's true?
I think because it's imagination. Creativity is imagination. And you can allow that in poetry and acting and things like that. You can allow that imagination to run away from you.
Well,
it's not bound
imagination is definitely a part of it.
Yeah, it's not bound by stipulations.
Yeah,
it's not bound by limitations. It's not, you don't have to be politically correct. You don't have to do anything.
Different from an essay.
Right, and it's not bound by false aspects of freedom of speech. You actually really I can freely have my speech here, because I don't really have to share it with anybody. I can, but I don't really have to. It's mine. It's me. It's all inside of here. And it's like playing a character sometimes, because you can be whatever you want to be. You can make the character whoever it is. Nobody ever has to know that it has anything to do with you. It could have come from over here.
It doesn't have to be personal.
It just does not have to be any of those things. I think it's wonderful. And
poetry is a very powerful language too.
Powerful.
Yeah. Now you work with young people as well.
Yeah.
I met you when you was a young person. I mean, you're still young, but I met you when you was a teenager. But you work with how old are some of the young people you work with as a teacher?
I'm a pre-K 3 teacher. I used to be
really?
I was a kindergarten teacher last year, but I'm a pre-K 3 teacher. So my kids are 3 and 4.
Wow. So have you taught about maybe teaching older kids as well?
Yes. And when
what grade would you like to teach?
If I taught them older, I would probably want middle schoolers.
Really?
Yeah, middle schoolers.
Wow.
I've tutored from from children that were about 8 years old to 17. So I've done that. Yeah, I used to work for
what was that like?
A company. It was amazing. Those kids, because my kids came from.
I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. You worked for a company. What was the name of the company?
A Plus Success Tutoring.
Okay.
A Plus Success Tutoring. It was in Silver Spring.
Oh, okay.
Virginia. So
what was that like, working with the
It was marvelous, because I worked with kids in detention centers. I worked with children that were in foster care. So these were children that people had not always abandoned, but for some reason or another, the kids were taken or things like that. And I was able to be with children that were hungry. They were hungry for love. They were hungry for affection. They were hungry to get rid of the ridicule that people had placed on them. I had one young lady she was 12 years old, and she was in a correctional facility. She had multiple siblings. I actually tutored her and her older sister, but she ended up in prison because she had hit her foster mother, because the foster mother told her she would never be good enough for anything except to lay on her back like her mother. And she beat the woman.
Oh, wow.
And when you think about that type of abuse, the little girl shouldn't have gone to anywhere for that, because
any parent shouldn't say anything like that.
She shouldn't have said that to her, and she couldn't do her times table. She couldn't do anything like that. She actually tried to fight me on the first time I met her, but I taught her. I taught her how to write her poetry while she was in there, and
she had a lot of anger.
She had a lot of anger, and I wanted her to express it in a different way. And by the time I left her that summer, you should have just saw the drastic change in her. It was remarkable. I love that little girl.
I'd like to dedicate this poem to that little girl. What's her name?
Her name, Justice.
Justice. This goes out to Justice, wherever you are, because I'm special. Because I'm special, I have my sense of self that is not for sale. I know who I am, and I refuse to fail. The power of I am is my mind's master key, for the way of the will is the life force in you and me. The sacred source of all life's wealth is simply in how you look at yourself. Because I'm special, I know who I am. I got the power to succeed, and in the spirit of faith, I got all that I need. A blessing in disguise as evidence of things not seen is a secret of success and the seed of self-esteem. Because I am that I am, there's no way I can let myself down. Hang-ups and setbacks are only stepping stones to higher ground. Because I'm special, I love my sense of self, and it's not for sale. I know who I am, and I refuse to fail just because I'm special. Yeah, so that goes out to her, to Justin.
That is my favorite one of yours.
Oh, you remember that?
I have it on right over top of my bed.
I'm reading old pieces
And
today,
I read
girl.
it. And I read it.
I ain't even got to the Trump pieces yet.
Trump. President Trump.
So you really love working with young people?
I do. I
Yeah.
love it. I love they teach you so much. You think that you go, sometimes as a teacher, you go into the room, you have your degrees, you've studied, and you go in there and you have this, you're kind of pompous, you're kind of puffed up, and you say, I'm going to teach this child, and they're going to soak up everything I have for them, and they're going to absorb it all, and then you get in there, and those children just knock you down, and you just realize, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. That's a lesson I can learn.
Because it's a whole another generation, or maybe a couple generations
and they're so honest.
behind you.
They're so honest.
Yes.
We've mastered lying to ourselves as adults. We've mastered that.
Don't bring me to that new Trump point.
Come on here. We've mastered it. But they are
the
so
lying chief.
honest.
But anyway, yeah, they are.
They are so brutally honest. And you know, in scripture,
and that's the beauty of it. Innocence.
You're supposed to go to, like, God says, come before me like a child. Why in the world?
Like
and because I teach little kids, I realize it's because come to me honest.
Yes.
Come to me innocent. Come to me
like
pure. Come to me with all of you.
Wow, and that's the beauty of a child. That's the beauty of innocence. This poem is dedicated to you, and then I want you to share something too.
Okay.
This is simply entitled, Do It for the Children. In the love of every man, woman, boy, and girl, you can find the key to the heart of the world. For each and every one, gotta find a better way to do what some say just can't be done. Do it for the children and all that you do and say. Do it for the children. The lifetime of love got to be a better way. Do it for the children. Teach the children the truth. The innocence of a child is a seed of truth for all to see. Truth, teach the children the truth, for they're the fruit of the family tree. There's so much the world needs that there's just too little love. But all we really got to do is give a little more love. Do it for the children and all that you do and say. Do it for the children. The lifetime of love got to be a better way. Do it for the children. Teach the children the truth.
Yes.
And having worked with children, you know that.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, a lot comes with it.
And when you make a mistake, even to go back to that, not only teach them the truth, but teach them what it means to really be apologize. A lot of times, if a child does something and you say, go and apologize to them, and they're not really ready to apologize because they don't really mean it. But as an adult, I model that. Sometimes I'm wrong with my kids. They're 3, and I don't want to tell a little 3-year-old that I'm sorry because of whatever it is. But I'm always careful. I say, oh sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I accused you of X, Y, and Z. I found out that it really wasn't you. Can you forgive Miss West Simato?
Really?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Say?
And they say yes, and they come give me a hug and give me a kiss, and I love it.
that just little kids are so innocent. I mean, that just melt your heart.
It does.
And I love to see fathers.
I wouldn't trade it.
With their children, with their little girls, Well, I mean, little sons too, but to see, black fathers in particular with their kids and showing love.
And I have a lot of those in my school.
I love seeing that, man. That just melts my heart.
Yeah.
It really does. It's just beautiful. I mean, working with children, that I can tell from your expressions when you were saying that, how that really moves you working with children.
It does.
Yeah. Well, there's another piece that you want to share.
Yeah, I do have one. This is actually not a poem. This is a writing that I did.
Is it titled?
What happened to the days is what it's called.
Okay, come on with it. What happened to the days?
What happened to the days when we had self-respect? What happened to the days when we took time to reflect on our decisions The days when the homeless cried aloud and we heard them. Days when our children called and we embraced them. What happened to the days when the church was a hospital? What happened to the days when Christians were a mirror of Christ? Days when the sacrifice was given our lives for a good cause. What happened to the days when people at least tried to make peace? What happened to the days when we said that hatred needed to cease? The days when we helped those in need? Days when we cleaned up those who had bleeding hearts? What happened to the days when we treated strangers as our brothers? What happened to the days when the insane were our sisters? The days when we took responsibility for our lives and days when innocent bloodshed pierced our souls? What happened to the days when we prayed for our country and other countries? What happened to the days when we didn't rest until justice had been served to all? The days when every living thing mattered. Days when we when we battered injustice of every kind in every form. What happened to humanity? Will it go to hell in a handbasket, or perhaps lie in wait in hopelessness? Did it turn its back on everyone and everything? Has it made a pact with failure, trampled over the faith of a new beginning? Did it get too greedy and selfish to show concern? Perhaps it burns with lust of pleasing only the individual self. What happened to the days when the world was abundant in life and not death?
Wow, that is a point. I don't care what you call it. I say it's a point. And it's entitled,
What happened to the days?
What Happened to the Day? Wow, what made you write that?
I was angry. I was just angry about all the killings and things like that I was seeing on the news. I don't even watch the news anymore. I get it on my phone, you know, from my Facebook or different things, but I don't care to turn on the television just because so much is going on. I wrote this in probably 2015.
Oh wow, you wrote that a while ago.
Yeah, 2015. And that day, you know, I love people. I love people, and I love how I can smile and make somebody's day. I love how just asking somebody, are they okay, matters in this, you know, to somebody. And if I could do that, I feel like I've done a lot. I want to be able to do more, and I think that there is more that I could do. I never think that I've arrived in any place, but I just love people, and I cannot stand that we're not unified. You know, and it doesn't have to be necessarily unified in a faith. I personally believe that we should be unified in a faith, but just as a people, you know, you don't have to grit on me when I go down the street. If I smile at you, it's not because I want something from you. I don't want anything but a smile back, or just to smile at you so you can know that, you know, that you're loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. Which brings me to a piece I'd like to share. Born to be blessed. On the wings of faith from heaven on high, you need to know that you can make it if you try. Though life will always put faith to the test, through it all, you need to know that you're born to be blessed. But success is not yours to have in the first degree without challenge, setback, and lifelong adversity. The day you were given breath of life is the day you were born with a divine birthright. When you know in your heart that you're born to win, you can never lose the sense of who you are within. The reality of a dream come true is based on faith, focus, and follow through. To know you're born from the seed of success is to know in your soul that you're born to be blessed. For on the wings of faith from heaven on high, you need to know that you can make it if you try. Born to be blessed. I believe that we are born to be blessed. Sometimes we don't know it. Sometimes we don't know it. We do things we don't have to do. You know, in that search for that inner peace a lot of times, you know. Yeah. But your poetry moves me, always has. Even as a young person, I was thinking, wow, it was just, I mean, you and then other young people would come to me with their poetry, and I was like, wow, man, this is a whole nother generation here. They coming from somewhere else, you know. And that's why whenever young people would come to me, you know, in the school where I worked at Forestville with their poetry, I always took the time to stop and read and listen. Sometimes I didn't say nothing. Sometimes I just listen. And sometimes I said, okay. And I would, you know, if they asked me, I would, you know, I would give them certain things. But you can't really show or teach somebody how to write. The writing has to come from the person. The spark for it has to come with. I couldn't sit somebody down and say, well, this is how you. Well, there's certain things you can learn, but I don't know if you can show them, give them that spark that comes from every writer. You know, I think it's something that you have to have I don't know if it's something that you can teach necessarily. Of course, you know, they teach creative writing,
Right.
but the spark for it,
Right.
the individual spark, that your own voice as a writer that you bring forth has to come from the individual. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I think one thing you did teach me, though, you kind of taught me about repetition. Because a lot of things I did,
power of repetition.
you get that power
Yeah.
that's behind it, because you make somebody stop because, oh, wait a minute, I heard that before, so let me go reread this, and then you might find the next time you read it, you might find something different than you didn't find before,
Yes.
because that reiteration was there, that repetition was there.
And it helps you to stay focused.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and it's powerful, and I think it empowers the writer. It's not just for the audience now.
Yes.
I've kind of realized that now. It's not for the audience. It's actually for the writer, because because you know, like you're standing in a courtroom, you're like, what happened? And then you say it again. You know what? And now that I think about it, what happened? Because you're like continuing to build yourself up.
And that's why you hear songs, you know, use repetition.
Yeah.
And some poets don't, but I always use repetition because I understand the power of it and how to use it. And, it's a powerful weapon when it's used properly.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
So-
begin with it and you end with it, so that I hear it at the beginning, I kind of hear it again in the middle, just a little, and then I definitely hear it again at the end.
Because I always think that good writing should always have a beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
And when I write
Absolutely.
songs, if you study songs and song lyrics, you'll see the beginning, middle, and end.
Any
And
essay that you have has to have a beginning, middle,
it's
and an end.
Middle and the end. So I like poetry that says something, that tells a story. I like songs that say something. I like songs that tell a story.
Right.
And tell it well. You know, who are some of your favorite musicians, or maybe songwriters or lyricists? You have any favorite?
You know, Whitney Houston was my girl.
Oh man.
I miss
Yeah.
her.
One of your favorite
I
artists.
miss her.
Did you write a piece on her?
I did not write a piece
Yeah.
on her. I did write a piece that I sent to her mother
Oh,
when
you did?
when she passed.
Oh wow.
And they actually sent me a letter back with
They did?
with her stamp on it.
Oh wow.
With a stamp of her on it. I still have that.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I was up all night the night before she passed away. I think she passed on
What
February
were you
11th.
feeling when Whitney passed?
Gosh, that day. First of all, my cousin died on the exact same day.
Oh wow.
So the night before, I don't know why, I just felt so close to her, and I was actually singing one of her songs, and I got on the phone.
I know you sang.
I don't. 3 o'clock in the morning with my friend.
Which one were you singing?
My friend is Shelby.
I'll always love you.
No, I can't even remember right this minute which one it was right now. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
But she and I were singing Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Oh, your love is my love. I was
Oh,
singing that one. Yeah,
yeah.
I was singing that. And so
We were taking it turn to hold us
yes,
back.
and we were singing it together, and we were smiling. I was dancing all around my dorm room.
Okay.
And because I stayed up so late, I didn't
You were
wake
still in school then?
Yeah, I didn't wake up until, gosh, I didn't wake up until so late the next day on a Saturday. Or was it, I think it might have been, I think it was the weekend. And my mother called me because she knew I would take that really hard. And she said, Shay, where are you? And I said, I'm in my dorm room, Mom. I'm half asleep. And she's like, sweetheart, are you sitting down? And I said, Mom, oh God, what happened? You know, because whenever she says it like that, I know
Oh, this
somebody.
is before you found out she
Yeah,
had
somebody.
passed.
I was asleep,
Oh.
so it was all in the media. It was all on the TV. But because I was asleep, I
didn't know,
I
yeah.
had no idea. My mom said, Shay, it's Whitney. I said, huh? What? She's gone. I must have flipped out of here
Really?
and lost it.
Oh, well, I'm going to give you one of my Whitney
I
poems when we
lost it
finish.
so hard. I took it so hard. Oh gosh, and I
Wow.
prayed for her child. I prayed for her parent, for her mom, Sissy. I prayed for everybody. I was just like, oh my God. I really thought, you know, because she had been doing better.
Yes.
You know, and I prayed for that. She was like a family member. We
Yeah.
we had family
We just
meetings.
go by her first name, Whitney.
We had
you know?
family Nippy. We had family
Nippy, yeah. That's what
prayer
the
for
family
Whitney
called her.
Houston in my house.
Wow.
So,
Nippy prayer.
Yeah.
Well, you may go back sometime and maybe write a piece on her.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, she was definitely one of my favorites, but there's a lot of favorites that I had. One of them was Prince.
Right.
Yeah, and one of them
Obviously.
was the late, great James Brown.
That's it.
Michael Jackson, on and on and on. And I've written pieces on many of them, you know. Chuck Brown.
That's it.
Yeah, you know, you from here,
Chuck,
you know
baby.
Chuck.
Chuck,
Hey,
baby.
Chuck. You know, I
Yeah.
did it. You seen my piece on Chuck? Yes.
Yeah.
I
One of my
did
friends
that.
is actually his cousin. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everybody loved Chuck. And Chuck loved people.
He
man. That's the
loved
great thing
people.
about it.
He was a
Yes.
family man too.
Now, where would you like to go with your writing?
I want to write.
I want you to do a book.
I want to screen. I'm writing. I'm writing a play right now. I do.
Okay.
I do,
Really?
I do
Okay.
actually. I actually help write the plays at my church. Just
Oh,
about
okay.
every year.
You enjoy that?
I love it.
Wow.
I love screenwriting, and I would
Screenwriting.
love to write.
Study screenwriting.
I did. I did.
You did in school?
When I got my certification, when I was getting my bachelor's at Temple University, I got my bachelor's in English, but I had a concentration. I had a certification in creative writing. So
okay.
I studied how to write plays. I've studied how to write movies and different things like that. I've studied how to write poetry and whatnot. And so I love it. My favorite show is Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Oh, really?
And when it went off for a season finale, I actually wrote the season premiere before it got there. They did not use it. They did not take it. They didn't even say anything back to me.
Yeah,
but I wrote it, and I think mine was better than
Well, don't ever give up though, because you never know what might happen.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know. You know.
I love it.
You know, it's been wonderful talking to you,
Thank
Shay,
you.
here on the Color Me Poetry today. I knew you from way back.
Yeah.
Like I said when we started, I knew you was a knee-high to a bumblebee. Always buzzing, Mr. Queen, all around the school. I got this new poem. I wanted you to hear this new poem.
Yeah.
Wow. And you was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And I thank you for coming to share with us today. So for people who want to get in touch with you, maybe to come and do readings or, you know, share your work. Is there ways?
I have an email. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
give me
my
an
email. It's ShawWest1, so SHAWEST1 at umbc.edu. I still use my school email.
Wow. And she is the master teacher, y'all. Let me
Yes.
tell you. And also, let me tell you about my new CD here. Can you hand me that, Shay?
Yes, I can.
New CD, and it's simply entitled Up Close and Personal. I wrote and produced it. I didn't sing it. And the artist is Vaughn Paris. And we ask that you get it and download it, you know, wherever music is downloaded. So we thank you. Shay, we thank you for coming and sharing. We got to get you back. When you get your new book, we're going to have you back on.
Okay.
So I thank you so very much.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, sis. This is my mentee from Forestville High
Yeah.
School. And I love having. Shout out to Forestville, former
Forestville, FMA,
Hey, in
go
the house.
Knights.
Yeah. This is Poet Danny Queen. Until next time, do me a favor, color me poetry. Peace. I am, I can, and I will.
Peace.
I am the living experience. I am the lifelong proof. Color me the poetry of nothing but the truth.
Color me a love child lost in the promised land.
For I am poetry.
Color me the rose and the thorn. I am the timeless hopes of dreams, yet unborn. I am for my people a portrait of pride. Color me the Negro who speaks of rivers deep down inside. For I